One of the questions I get asked more than any other is, how can we improve our communication? So today I'm going to spend 3 or 4 minutes talking about exactly that, how you can improve your communication, but actually what you can do before you start talking. So it's still to improve your communication, but thinking about it before you actually start the conversation, which is really important. So the first thing to think about when you are about to have a conversation that perhaps might be a little bit difficult, maybe you're nervous about going into conflict, or there's something that happens every time you communicate. So think about what you really want. What is the ideal outcome from this conversation? Do I want to get us making a decision? Do I want some changes to take place? Do we need to just explore something? But think about the outcome. Now, of course, your ideal outcome might be different from the other person's. So just in case that is the case, to soften any kind of conflict that might go on between the two of you, there is a third person, of course, that you can imagine in this conversation, the relationship. So if you think about, well, what does the relationship need here? If there's an ideal outcome for the relationship, what would that be? So for instance, the relationship might need to have more time spent on it. It might need more calm. There might need to be more loving. So if you think that the other person's outcome might be completely different from yours, rather than getting into a battle, think about what the relationship needs, which gives you another perspective, and keep your eye on that as well. Now, as well as the ideal outcome, think about the journey towards the outcome. What kind of conversation do you want to have? What do you want the journey to be like? Do you want it to be calm, respectful? Do you want to be heard? Is it an exploration? So do you want both of you to listen to each other? Think about what kind of conversation you want to have. And then ask yourself, okay, what can I do to make that happen? You can't control what the other person does. They're going to do what they do. But you can play a part. You have power over yourself. So if, for instance, you want a conversation where you're being heard, then listen. Because if you think about it, what you give, you're more likely to receive. So if you are creating an environment where listening is the way to go, it's more likely that the other person will listen. Certainly if you want the conversation to be respectful, are you showing respect? If you want the conversation to be calm, are you being calm? It's very different from telling the other person to calm down. Do you see? It's like, can you embody what it is that you want the conversation to be like? It can be quite a challenge, but it's something to think about before you go into the conversation. Now, if you are full of emotions and you're wanting to tell someone how you feel, think about the impact. If you are very, very angry, for instance, and you're going into a conversation and you're likely to go, I'm really angry and here's lots of criticism and I'm just going to dump all my anger on you. Is that going to give you what you want? Is that going to give the relationship what it wants? Probably not. So a way to change that is, before you go into the conversation, to, what I would say, downregulate the emotion. So it's like turning a dial. And not getting rid of them. There's nothing wrong with, for instance, telling someone that you're angry, but to downregulate means to just kind of make it less, so that instead of doing the big explosion at someone, you tell them that you're angry. Right now I feel really angry with you and I want you to know why. They're more likely to be able to hear you if you do that. So these are just a few things that you can do before a conversation. What do you want? What is the ideal outcome? Where are you heading? Also, what kind of conversation do you want it to be? What does the relationship need? What kind of conversation does the relationship need? Think about all those things. And then what part can you play in creating what you want? What is the role that you can play? What can you do differently? And how can you manage your emotions so that they don't get the better of you and the conversation? Now, there's some advice articles on my website, and one of them is about before a conversation, what you can do. So please go, and if you want more information and more detail, you could read that. And there's other articles as well about communication. And then there'll be another video that focuses on the conversation itself. So I wish you luck.